Hello and welcome to Kane. Today, we're popping the hood, but not on the engine. We're diving deep into the unspoken stories of car design, the secrets, the happy accidents, and the ingenious solutions that shape the cars we know and love. It's a world where art meets engineering, and sometimes where boardroom battles are won with a single curve of metal. So buckle up and let's take a ride through history. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories from the automotive world. Our first story begins with a legend, the Lamborghini Miura. Often hailed as the first supercar, its design was as revolutionary as its mid-engine layout. But here is the secret. It was designed by a team of young engineers in their spare time, against the wishes of Ferruccio Lamborghini himself. He wanted grand touring cars, not a race car for the road. Marcello Gandini, who was only in his 20s, penned its breathtaking lines and those iconic eyelashes around the headlights. They weren't just for looks. They were a clever solution to hide the mechanism that popped the lights up. The Miura's design was a youthful rebellion that accidentally created an entire automotive category. Now, let's fast forward to the 1980s and the Ford Taurus. This might seem like a bland family sedan today, but in 1986, it was a radical game changer that saved Ford from the brink of collapse. At the time, American cars were boxy and old-fashioned. Ford's design team, nicknamed Team Taurus, looked to European brands like Audi for inspiration. They championed a smooth, aerodynamic jelly bean shape. This was a huge gamble. Internal clinics showed that people either loved it or hated it. The designers even had to fight the engineers, who complained that the curved panels were difficult to manufacture. But they stuck to their guns, and the Taurus became a massive success, completely changing the look of American roads for the next decade. Speaking of aerodynamics, let's talk about a car that was obsessed with it, the Saab 92. Saab was originally an aircraft company, and when they decided to build a car after World War II, they did what they knew best. A team of 16 aircraft engineers with no prior automotive experience designed the car. They created a teardrop shape that was incredibly aerodynamic, achieving a drag coefficient that many modern cars would be proud of. Here's the fun part. Because they were so focused on a strong, unified, and cheap-to-produce body, the first prototypes had no trunk lid. To access the luggage space, you had to fold down the rear seat from inside the car. And for cost saving, every single early Saab 92 was painted the same color. A surplus dark green paint left over from wartime aircraft production. From a car with no trunk lid to a car with no B-pillar. The hardtop design, popular in the 50s and 60s, gave cars a sleek, open-air feel, mimicking a convertible with the top up. But where did this idea come from? The story goes that a General Motors designer, S-wife, loved the look of their convertible but hated the hassle of the soft top. He took a production convertible, welded a thin steel roof onto it, and removed the central beep. The result was the 1949 Buick Roadmaster Riviera, the first mass-produced pillarless heart. It was an instant sensation. The design communicated freedom and style, a perfect reflection of post-war American optimism. It was a purely aesthetic choice, one that created engineering headaches for decades to come, but it defined an entire era of car design. Now, let's talk about a design feature you see every day, the Hofmeister kink. That little forward bend at the base of the rear pillar on almost every BMW, named after Wilhelm Hofmeister, the BMW design director from 1955 to 1970. But here's the unspoken part. BMW did uninvent it. Similar design cues appeared on cars from other manufacturers like the 1951 Kaiser. However, BMW was the first to adopt it as a consistent signature element. Starting with the 1961 BMW 1500, they claimed it highlighted the car's rear-wheel drive dynamics and increased visibility. Whether it actually does that is debatable, but what it did do was create an incredibly strong brand identifier. It's a tiny detail that screams BMW from 100 yards away, proving that great design is often about consistency as much as innovation. Let's shift gears to Japan and the original Mazda MX-5 or Miata. Its design story is one of pure, distilled passion. In the late 70s, an automotive journalist named Bob Hall told Mazda's head of R&D that the simple, lightweight British sports cars of the 60s, like the Lotus Elan, had vanished. The idea stuck. Years later, Mazda held a design competition between its studios in Tokyo and California. The Tokyo team proposed a mid-engine car, but the California team championed a classic front-engine rear-wheel drive layout. Their concept was Jinbaitai, a Japanese phrase meaning rider and horse as one. They focused on feeling and emotion, not just specs. The pop-up headlights weren't just a retro touch. They were crucial for meeting US height regulations while keeping the nose incredibly low and sleek. The Miata wasn't designed to be the fastest or most powerful. It was designed to be the most fun, proving that a car's soul is its most important design feature. Now, for a tale of corporate espionage and unintended consequences, the Chrysler minivan. Lee Iacocca is famous for fathering the Ford Mustang, but his second act, the minivan, arguably had an even bigger impact on family life. The idea was actually born at Ford, where Iacocca's team developed a concept called the Minimax. Ford's conservative management rejected it, fearing it would steal sales from their station wagons. When Iacocca was fired from Ford and moved to Chrysler, he took the idea with him. Chrysler was struggling, and they desperately needed a hit. They refined the concept, creating a vehicle with a car-like ride, a low, flat floor for easy entry, and tons of space. It was a smash hit that created an entirely new market segment and defined the suburban family vehicle for a generation. It was a design born at one company, rejected, and then used to save its biggest rival. Let's consider a design born from constraint. The original Mini. In 1956, the Suez Crisis caused a fuel shortage in the UK. The market was flooded with tiny, unstable bubble cars. Sir Alec Ezegonis was tasked by the British Motor Corporation to design a proper miniature car. His primary goal was to dedicate 80% of the car's footprint to passengers and luggage. To do this, he made two revolutionary decisions. First, he turned the engine sideways, creating the transverse engine layout that is now standard in most front-wheel drive cars. Second, he pushed the wheels all the way out to the corners. This not only maximized interior space, but also gave the Mini its famous go-kart-like handling. The exposed door hinges and external body seams weren't a style choice. They were purely for costs, saving, and ease of assembly. It was a design of pure function that accidentally became a timeless fashion icon. Finally, let's look at the Tesla Model S. Its design story isn't about a single curve or feature, but about rethinking the car's entire architecture. Traditional cars are designed around a large engine, a transmission tunnel, and a fuel tank. Electric cars don't have these. Designer Franz von Holzhausen used this freedom to his advantage. The skateboard chassis, with the battery pack forming the floor, created a low center of gravity and a massive interior space. This is why Teslas have a front trunk where an engine would normally be. The most radical design choice, however, was on the inside. That giant touchscreen. It replaced nearly every physical button and knob. It was a huge risk. Critics worried it would be distracting and unreliable. But Tesla bet that people were more comfortable with screens than with buttons, thanks to smartphones. They were right. And now, massive touchscreens are becoming the norm across the industry. The Model S design was less about styling a car and more about designing a user experience for a new era of driving. From rebellious engineers and wartime leftovers to stolen ideas and a focus on pure emotion, the stories behind car design are as fascinating as the machines themselves. They show us that a car is more than just a tool for transportation. It's a product of its time, a piece of rolling sculpture, and a collection of brilliant ideas. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey today at Koenigs. What's your favorite piece of car design history? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share with a friend. And make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you don't miss our next adventure. We'll see you in the next one!